how much gravitational force does it take if you just hold something up like this and then drop it? Enough to break the ice. Hi, I'm John. Okay, so I want to tell you why I like rednecks. Sorry. You see my gas cap? It would not stay shut. But I was talking to this redneck myself, and finally I'm like, I need to fix this because it's been broken for way too long. And so here's what I did. I super glued a magnet here. It works now.
That is very smart, John.
Brilliant. I love rednecks because you know what? When there's a problem, they're like, I could just fix that with nothing. And then they proceed to get nothing and fix it, and you're like, that's pretty smart. Anyway, we're gonna work in the heat again. But we had this imported from Alaska. It's gonna be amazing. We'll see you soon at the job site. Oh, hey there. So if you look up here, you can see that we're putting some sheetrock in. We got spray foam insulation in, which is great. Last night somebody was asking me, what exactly do you spray foam and do you ventilate the attic? And the answer is you spray foam all your exterior walls, and then you fill it up. This is open cell. There's closed cell and open cell. Closed cell is usually on metal buildings and stuff like that. Open cell is more puffy. And then we get all the rafters, and then that way you're encapsulated just like a igloo cooler or something like that. And so your attic ends up being the same temperature as down low. But how do you cut these circles? How do you cut these lights out? Well, we got one right here, and we've measured it. We measured from here to the center and from here to the center, and we put a mark on our board. And then I've got this cool tool right here, and you can unscrew this and set it to the right width so that you can make it any size circle. And then check this out. You just stab down in here, and you got to kind of put a lot of pressure, but you do that, and then wait for it. We got to get the other side of it too. So once you do that, then it puts a hole. Should have put a hole. Where's the hole? Oh, there it is. And then you do this side. And then look at that. Boom. Done. That was a little sloppy. Now, a lot of people constantly ask me, John, what do you use for birth control? Well, I'll tell you. My personality mostly, but my looks definitely factor in. Oh. Hey there. So it's been about 28 minutes and we got all the sheetrock up. And I know what you're thinking, you guys are fast for white people. Well, we're fast for anybody. That's very racist of you to think the white people thing. All right, so the way that you hang sheetrock is you put the stuff up on the ceiling first, and then you do your top layer, and then you come up underneath that. And the way that we lift the bottom layer is we put the sheetrock over here, and then we step on that, and it raises it up. It's amazing. Now, here's a life lesson that I think everybody should know. Sometimes in your life, your friends will break up or get divorced, or it looks like they're going to. And then they're going to be like, blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you how bad my significant other is. And then here's the important part. When they say all this, you listen. You don't say anything bad about their significant other, their spouse, wife, husband, whatever in the world it is. Do not say anything bad, no matter how bad it is. Like if they just mass murdered everybody, you're like, And then watch this. Sorry to hear that. And don't say anything else. You know why? Alan, do you know why?
Yeah, because they're going to turn it all on you.
Because they're going to get back together, and then you're going to be the bad guy for saying anything at all. It happens every single time. So don't do it. Don't do it. Don't say anything bad about the other person. In fact, here's what you should say. Well, what do you think you guys could do to fix this? Is there anything I can do to help? I'm so sorry you're going through a rough patch. Maybe counseling would help. Literally anything except, yeah, that person's bad, bad, bad. Don't ever say that. We're gonna go get lunch. Hey there. It's been about 28 minutes and we got all the sheetrock up and we got a first coat of tape and bed everywhere and we're very happy. We had some sloppy mud and that was really my fault. But who'd have thought that being this hot that our mud was too wet. So I think that we should probably talk about the fact that America's lawsuits have gotten out of control, and that's probably part of, I don't want to get criticized here too much, part of why everything is so expensive as far as the medical profession. Lawyers have gotten in there and made it where you can sue anybody for anything. I could literally open up a phone book if there was one, or Google, and then find somebody and find their address, and I could go down to the courthouse and pay $20 and file a lawsuit against literally anybody for no reason. That's a problem. When you can sue somebody for no reason and then the court respects that, I think that's a problem. I think that frivolous lawsuits should be thrown out, and that part of the reason why everything costs so much is because everybody's so afraid of getting sued that they overinsure, and then the insurance companies, they're used to getting kind of screwed on their end too. And so, you know, it's bad. And people are afraid to go to the doctor because they're like, I'd rather die than pay the bill because the bill's so high. Well, the reason the bill's so high is because the insurance is so high, and the doctor has to pay, you know, insane amounts of insurance. And so I think that the next time you think, I had to sue that person because I didn't like the color of their tie, instead maybe think, I won't sue that person. Maybe I'll have a conversation with them, like a civil conversation, and try to settle this like people instead of getting lawyers involved. Because the only people that win in a lawsuit is the lawyers. And that's a true story. Ah, hey there. So this morning, we did a second coat of tape and bed, and it's almost dry, so we're about to do a third coat of tape and bed, and then we're gonna blow some texture. And then we're gonna go get a water tank so we can bring it out to the Cleveland house, because that's important. On my shirt, yeah, it says, I refuse to participate in a recession. Let me explain why you can refuse to participate in a recession. Here's how a recession works. Are you ready? Here's how money works in general. There's always the same amount of dollars. I mean, there's inflation, so they're gonna print more money, but let's say there's $50 trillion or whatever it is in America, and there's the same amount. But a recession, or so if it's a bull market or a bear market, is really about customer confidence. Okay, so if people are confident that their money is going to last a while, that things are going to go well, that crops are going to grow, that they're going to be able to go to the store and get what they need, they're going to have job security, then they buy things. And so when you buy a house, then that's a lot of money that changed hands, and a bunch of people make money off of it. And when you remodel a house, that's kind of a large ticket item. Or when you buy a car or whatever, and then there's a trickle down, right? So then somebody makes a sale on a house and they're like, good, I need to get a new car. Or then the car guy is like, good, I need to get my house remodeled. Or somebody else goes, man, I want to take my family out to dinner. And so the money circulates, okay? And then people will spend it, and then everybody's spending it, and it ends up back in the same place, and it's getting stirred up. There's circulation of money. That's when it's good. When everybody gets afraid, thanks news, then everybody's like, I need to hold on to my money. And so nobody buys anything, they don't spend anything. And then everything freezes up. Everybody's like, nobody's buying anything, therefore there is nothing to buy, then I don't want to spend my money either. And so then everybody clams up. Now, if you look historically, there are very famous investors that are like, the time to buy is when there's blood on the ground. In other words, if there's a war, if there's some panic, if the world is about to end, and everybody's like, sell quick before you lose everything. The smart people are like, sell quick, huh? You guys are all selling your stuff for cheap? Interesting. I'll take two. And then you buy up literally everything that you can afford while it's dirt cheap. Then time will pass. People will get their consumer confidence back again. The storm will pass. And then all of a sudden they will spend money again. But you got all their assets, which are now worth significantly more. So that's why we're about to be in another recession. This was from the 2008 recession, but I refused that time, and I'm refusing this time. So I'm gonna keep on working, I'm gonna keep on doing everything I can do. If my career takes a downward turn, I will pivot and do something else, because we're flexible like that, and that's how you survive. And I hope that you can do too. I hope you take this advice and go, you know what, he's right. I'm not gonna panic. I'm not gonna like, ugh. I'm just gonna keep on going. I'm gonna add value. See, now here's something. A lot of people, they're like, what is the value that you add to the world? And they're like, I clip coupons. I'm like, but what value do you add to the world? And they're like, well, I mean, I collect welfare, or I collect Social Security, or I, whatever. And I'm like, that's good. Have you thought about adding value to something? Have you thought about, man, because of what I do, somebody else's life is easier or enriched or whatever in the world. And if you do that, then people will want you. And if there's not enough of you to go around, then they'll pay more for you, and then you have greater value. So do something that has value, and then don't hold on too tight to your money. It's okay to spend it. Don't spend all of it. Don't be frivolous. So here's the thing. don't buy things that are disposable, right? If you spend all your money on, I don't know, Copenhagen, then you're like, well, it went bad and I have cancer. Like, that's a bad idea. If I decide I'm gonna buy all the milk in the world so I never have to buy milk again, also a bad idea. That will spoil next week and I will be like, that was a foolish move. If I buy only disposable things, if I buy clothes, then next week they're gonna be worthless, right? Electronics are gonna be worthless. But if you buy things that matter, if you buy real estate and if you invest in companies and things like that, then you're gonna be like, oh, I actually have more than I had and I'm able to keep up with inflation and then make even more money. So refuse to participate in recession. We're just not gonna do it. We're just gonna keep on working. We're gonna keep on doing good things and the world's gonna be a better place. All right, love you guys, bye. Hey there. So we did our third coat. You can tell it's thicker and wider everywhere and smoother. That's the whole point, is that we cover up the tape and cover up all the nail holes and the screw holes actually. And then it's all smooth. And we feel the wall like, ooh, so smooth. But now, we're gonna blow texture on it, at which point it will become unsmooth. So it's magical. We're gonna get the air compressor and get this thing, and we're gonna pour that mud in here and then go all over the walls. And it's gonna be great. Now, I wanna tell you about something that warmed my heart. What's left of my cold, miserable heart. I'm not good at driving a trailer. I'm not good at backing up, especially backing up with a trailer. Driving forward, not as bad, but backing up every time I'm like, from the bottom of the steering wheel, turn the direction you wanna go. Nope, nope, nope. And this goes back and forth for eternity. There's just a loop that keeps happening. In my mind, it's still happening from years ago. So Drew's in the car with me. You wanna show yourself, Drew? Mm-hmm. As usual, he's not going to. And in the truck, I'm sorry. And so I was like, I am horrible. I'm just horrible at backing up trailers. And I'm like, you can make fun of me if you want. And then this is the part that warmed my heart. He goes, I'm not gonna make fun of you. You never make fun of me for any of my shortcomings. And I'm just like this. That's so sweet. I didn't actually cry, but I wanted to. That's the end. Hey there. So we blew texture, it took moments. I'm not gonna lie, it's very hot, and so I already drug this texture, but let me show you kind of how to determine. So if you come closer, get right up on this. So when you blow it, everything's gray, right? That's the wet stuff, but you see the specks turn white. Once the specks turn white, it's time to drag it. So this is a 2-foot wide knife. It's very lightweight and it's at the correct angle. And so you just take this and then drag it down lightly with no pressure, and then drag it up lightly with no pressure, and it solves your problem. So then rather than looking like you just sprayed stuff on here, then you have this splatter drag or knockdown, however you want to call it. So if you have a house in Texas that you live in, you probably have this texture on your walls. There's a pretty high likelihood. There's a couple other options, but either you have an old house and you got crow's foot or panapa, or maybe you got Spanish knife, or possibly smooth walls, but highly likely, like a 90% chance you probably got knocked down on your walls, and this is how you do it. All right, so at church this week, a friend of mine got up and he spoke, and he said, you can't lead somebody to a place that you're not. I'm like, that's a good point. And Jesus put it a little bit differently. He said, stop being a hypocrite. Why don't you, before you try to take the speck out of your brother's eye, take the plank out of your own eye? Also a valid argument. That's like a very fat person giving you advice on dieting. You're like, maybe you ought to put it into practice and let me see the results on you, then we'll talk. But until then, I don't think I'm gonna listen to you. Nothing personal. I'm sure you mean well. You might even have some great ideas, but until you apply it to your own life and show me what you've done, I'm probably not that interested. And I think that's the way that people are about Christianity as well. And so what we end up with is a lot of people that should probably keep their mouth shut. Like if somebody can't tell that you're a Christian by the way that you live your life, you probably ought to work on yourself first, and then people will ask you, hey, what's different about you? At which point you could humbly say, there's a few things. And they're like, no, there's more. And then they want to know, because there is something different that is valuable that they want. And I think that it's the most important, rather than going and giving advice to everybody else in the world, that you take that advice that you want everybody else to have and you apply it to yourself first. And then people go, so that's what it looks like in real life. I'm intrigued. And then they watch and they wait, and you sit there alone doing the right thing. And they go, I like the results of that. I like where that's going. I like the way that guy is or that girl is, and I want to be like them. And then over time, they will start to do that as well. And then you get real results instead of like, I told you so, which is, nobody likes that. You're better than that. We're gonna get doing something else now. Oh, you guys. I love when you come to visit. So this morning we painted, and then we waited, and then we painted again. So that's good. Now we're gonna let it dry for a second, and then we're gonna lay some laminate flooring, luxury vinyl plank. It's gonna be beautiful. You guys are gonna be like this, and I'm gonna be like this, and then Drew's gonna be like this. That's what we do. We're good at stuff. So maybe you're thinking, I want God to do me a favor. Maybe you're like, I want to pray about something. I want God to answer my prayers. That's fair. I think we all do. We all want that. If you want God to continually answer your prayers, you might want to get the idols out of your life. Here's what I'm saying. If you're serving God, but also serving other idols, then maybe he's going to be like, I don't like that. Let me give you a for example. Let's say that you're walking down the aisle. Let's say you're a guy, and you're at the far end of the aisle, and then your wife-to-be is coming down the aisle. She's walking, and they've got the music playing, and she's, ready. But every guy along the way, she's flirting with him, stroking the fingers through his hair, like, sitting on his lap, kissing him on the cheek, more things. Would you be like, I think I want to go ahead and follow through with this marriage? Or would you be like, maybe you need to understand that marriage is like me and nobody else? Well, that's selfish and closed-minded. Well, that's the way it is. So if you think I can follow God and do all these other bad things and follow all these other idols, you're wrong. What you need to do is get those idols out of your life, burn them, so there's nothing left. There is no chance to go back. Get them out of your life. And then all of a sudden you'll be like, you know what? It's weird, but things seem to fall in place. I'm like, right, they do, because you got rid of the yuck in your life. God says to obey is better than sacrifice. What does that mean? You might be like, but I gave all this money to a school, but I helped out the special needs children, but I did this thing and this thing and this thing. He's like, that's nice. What I asked you to do was get your life right with me and get the yuck out and then repent. And you're like, yeah, but I'm doing these important programs. He's like, that's nice, but what I asked you to do was this. And so we need to obey first, and then we'll be like, oh, there's results. And people are like, well, when I see results, then I'll get things right. I'm like, you won't see results until you get things right. So get things right. We're gonna get some things right and lay this floor. I could sit here all day doing nothing, but I'm not gonna. Hey there. So we're laying this luxury vinyl plank flooring, and I know that everybody's like, how do you do it, John? It looks so amazing. Well, you come in and put it in place, and you get your next biggest one. These are the cutoffs from that side, so these are the starters, the other ones are finishers. That's too close, so we can't put those next to each other, but we'll put this here, and that'll be amazing. And we'll put this one here, and so on and so forth. It's truly magical. Now, perhaps you're in a place in your life where you're ready to give up. And I know what you're thinking. I'm the only one. Life is hard. You're ready to give up. You're not the only one. We're all terminal. Whether we want to admit it or not, whether we agree with it or not, we're all terminal. We're all on our way out. I want to tell you about a time when I felt hopeless, because I think it's important to hear other people's stories. So, in 2001, which in case you're not good with math, that was 21 years ago, I was having a bad day. Now let me tell you what I mean by having a bad day, okay? Let me just tap it. We'll get back to this. I found out that my wife was cheating on me. I met my dad for the first time in my life. I had my club raided. I used to own a music venue by 10 cop cars. I was falsely accused of a lot of things. I went massively in debt, $675,000 in debt. Somebody got in a car wreck right in front of my place. They almost died. I thought they were dead. I was the first one there. She was in a coma for 3 months, had all kinds of surgeries. disaster everywhere. 9/11 happened. This is all the same day. It's like the story of Job, okay? Things were not good. Things were not good at all. Then my wife puts it in reverse. So I get home, my house is empty, my bank account's empty, and my wife's about to pull out. She's got my kids in the car, and they're pretty young. They're 3 and 5, and so they're screaming for me, and I'm reaching for my kids, trying to console them. But my wife's in such a hurry to get out that she kicks it in reverse and runs over my foot. And then I realize I got to play a show that night. In my heart, I'm not feeling it. In my heart, I'm feeling like I'd rather die. But I knew I had to get ready, and I'm a man, so I sucked it up. I got in the shower and I was going to be tough, and then I wasn't. And I broke down crying. It was too much. It was too much for me to carry. And I was like, I'm not going to kill myself, but God, if you could arrange for, I don't know, something to take me out, I wouldn't complain at all. I have nothing left. The tank is empty. I'm done. I'm spent. There's nothing there. Just take me home, because I got nothing to give. The world will be a better place without me. And I said those words out loud. And then I remembered that I had read this scripture like the week before. And it said, if you are worn out, tired, and weak when you race against mere men, how will you ever run with horses? And if you stumble and you fall when you're safe at home, then how will you ever go out to battle? How will you ever do anything amazing? And then I thought about all the people that had it worse than me, and I knew plenty of them in my own life. And I didn't have to look far. And I was like, at least, I'm not in the position that they're in. And I thought, you know what? I need to stop complaining. And I decided everything after this is borrowed time. I've already given it up. I'm ready to die. So anything after this is borrowed time. It's yours, God. I don't think I have anything to give you. But whatever is here, you can have it. And I will run with horses, and I will turn the other cheek, and I'll walk the extra mile. I'll love my enemies, and I'll do whatever in the world you tell me to do with my last time here, which hopefully won't be very long. And then I wrote a song called I Will Run with Horses. And if you want to hear it, it's on every streaming platform. Just look up Angels Unaware, I Will Run with Horses, you'll find it. iTunes, Apple Music, I don't know, whatever, YouTube Music, Spotify, Pandora, all that stuff. It's on all the streaming platforms. Hopefully it helps you. Hopefully you're encouraged. You're not the only one going through a hard time. All right, love you guys. Have a good day. I'm heartbroken. I'm heartbroken. Inside my heart, in case you haven't guessed, it's broken. Here's why. Drew said to me, I think we can do this floor in 30 minutes. I'm like, usually 28, but I was like, now it's a race. And I guess at this point I'm a racist because I'm trying to race. So I'm like, start your stopwatch. And he did. I was hoping for 13 minutes, not the usual 28. We did it in 18 minutes and 23 seconds. Now we had to do a 5-minute video in the middle, and we had to clean up, and my phone has been non-stop all morning. Plus we were rocking out to some music, so I'm gonna count that as part of the problem. But please keep me in your prayers, as my pride is somewhat damaged on how long it took me to lay this floor. Please, we're gonna go eat. Oh, hey there. So we're finally done with this job. On the outside, well, they still have to put a light on the outside and a fan on the inside, but that's not that big of a deal. So we got the door in, we got the doggy door in, we got the floor in, we got baseboards in, outlet switches, the air conditioning unit. Take a look, pop in there, Drew, take a look. What do you think? Oh, that's beautiful. That's so beautiful. Now, I want to explain how insulation works by explaining how blankets work. Okay. If you have a blanket on your bed, or maybe a stack of blankets, maybe 100 blankets on your bed, and you just pull the blanket back and you fill your hand in there, it's not gonna be warm. Why is that, Because you gotta get in there, you're producing body heat that then just dissipates, right? If you're sweating, then it goes faster. The heat goes faster because, it cools you off. But once you get in there, then all the blankets trap your heat in there, and then it wants to leave, but it stays inside and it bounces around inside, and then you stay warm under the blankets. You're like, oh, that's nice. So if you've got a very well insulated house with no temperature control, then you'd be like, it's the same temperature as outside. That's not very fun. But if you got an air conditioner or a heater, then you'd be like, this is really nice. And that's how insulation works. Imagine having a big blanket around your house. Now imagine this, with spray foam, you have no holes. It fills in every gap. With fiberglass insulation, you try, but there's usually some gaps. So imagine you got a blanket up over you and you're like, this is great, but it maybe is one of those like knitted blankets and you're like, there's a lot of holes in this. You'd be like, I feel a draft. That's why you have drafty houses. That and around windows and doors and stuff like that is not great. Now, there is a cold front in Texas right now that came through like a rushing wind. It is 103 degrees right now rather than the normal 116. And if I'd have known that, I think I would have wore a jacket. All right, I'll see you on the next one. Oh, hey there. So we went all around town today, supervising projects. It was really amazing. And I'm home early, so hopefully I'm gonna find a pool. If you have a pool, I miss you and I love you. I have this pond in my backyard and I've got a bunch of fish in here. It really made me think. You can see them, they're over here, a lot of them are. There's, I don't know, several thousand, maybe less. And they're golden fish. Is that how you say it? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it occurred to me, we were talking about training animals, right? So a lot of you have dogs and cats and things like that. And I don't have any animal slaves. I got these fish, but I don't consider them to be slaves. It's weird, I know, but talk about training them. Okay, so the way to train a dog is like when they do a behavior that you want, you kind of guide them to that behavior, then you reward them with food or love or praise or something, right? You reward them, and then they're like, oh, I want to do that thing again because I like getting the treat, or I like getting the pat on the head, or whatever. Like, I like being loved on. And then it made me think. I think we're training our Karens wrong, okay? So I think our Karens go into a store or whatever place it may be, restaurant, and then they have really bad behavior, intolerable behavior. And then we reward that. I don't think that's good. I think we need to stop rewarding Karen type behavior, because when we reward that, it encourages them to continue to be Karens. We don't want a society like that. Whoever said the customer's always right has obviously never been in customer service. Most of the time you're wrong. I'm sorry. You really don't understand what in the world you're talking about, and they tolerate you and they want you to shut up and they give you something so that you'll leave. I realize you've learned that behavior and therefore you continue to have bad behavior so that you can get free stuff, but it's not honorable. Nobody likes you. Please change your behavior and be nice to people. Just pay for your stuff like a normal person. Do you ever have this? Maybe where you go to check your mail, but you look down and you're like, I wonder if I could, wait, what is that? Let me take a look. Have you ever heard of snake foil? Here's how it works. It starts off and it's a real snake, right? But then a car maybe runs over it, and then a bunch of more cars run over it until it's as thin as tinfoil. Now, I don't know if you should wrap this up so that you can keep maybe your leftovers sealed up in the fridge. I don't know, because I don't cook at all. But snake foil, I've heard of these snake foil salesmen, and they do stuff. They try to sell you snake foil. I'm not interested. No, thank you. We're gonna put this away. Now it's gone forever.